It is 6 a.m. at the United Nations. It's 1 p.m. in Damascus. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain Verjee. You're watching CNN, the world's news leader, and this is World One live from London.
War of words, then a walkout. It was a dramatic session of the UN Security Council as China and Russia blocked a resolution on Syria, thwarting a European-led attempt supported by the U.S. to condemn the Syrian regime.
The United States is outraged that this council has utterly failed to address an urgent moral challenge and a growing threat to regional peace and security.
Let there be no mistake, this veto will not stop us. No veto can give carte blanche to the Syrian authorities who have lost full legitimacy in assassinating and killing their people.
Well, Russia didn't agree. Its ambassador to the UN said a threat to impose sanctions on the Syrian regime would send the wrong message to the international community.
We can't agree with this unilateral accusatory bent against Damascus.
Accused, convicted, cleared, and now home. Amada Knox says she is overwhelmed to be back in the United States. Cheers greeted the tearful 24-year-old as she touched down in her native city of Seattle last night. See what newspapers around the world are saying about this. The headline in Libero, an Italian newspaper, more or less translates as the disaster. Every trial is a lottery. Now, it goes on to say magistrates in Perugia attack the sentence and speak of crazy justice. But who will give those two kids back their 1,400 days spent in jail? The International Herald Tribune's headline, Lessons from the Amada Knox case. The opinion piece says, what about the Kircher family? It would have done no honor to their daughter had two people grown old in prison for an accusation that could never be proven. Asking those questions again and looking honestly at the case may yet bring them some peace. And finally, here in the UK, The Guardian's headline, the foxy thing helps, but in Italy, the courtroom is a circus. The guest editorial says the judiciary, no one really doubts it, is in desperate need of reform. The trouble is that the one man most desperate to reform it, the Prime Minister, is coincidentally the man most desperate to avoid it. Desmond Tutu says South Africa has acted worse than the apartheid government in failing to grant the Dalai Lama an entry visa. Tutu had invited the fellow Nobel laureate to attend his 80th birthday celebration, but after South Africa stalled on the visa application, the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader canceled the trip. A spokesman suggested Tutu should calm down and said it's unfair to compare the ANC to apartheid regimes. South Africa's Foreign Affairs Office says it's still considering the Dalai Lama's visa application. All this week, CNN takes a look at your green world. We'll be showing you cutting-edge ideas that can make a global impact, from a back-to-basics approach to beauty and a ship powered by the sun to a steel-producing facility that's eco-friendly. Well, in this episode, we meet the 29-year-old who's been crowned the king of garbage, in a good way. As Natalie Allen reports, he's turning trash into cash.
Tom Sacchi had a wacky idea.
My friends and I, we were trying to grow some plants and realized that worm poop was one of the best fertilizers to feed them. And it's really...
Protesters on two continents are taking to the streets to vent their frustrations. In New York, thousands of young people are occupying the city's financial district to express their anger over the state of the economy, the state of the environment, the state of the world in general. Well, today, the two-week-old demonstration enters a new phase as unions join in. Susan Cantiotti joins us now from New York with more on that. Susan, let's start with that in terms of what kind of impact this is going to have in terms of giving the protesters more of a support and backup now that the unions are getting involved.
Well, hi, Zain. That's what makes today's protest different. Of course, it's 6:30 in the morning now, so as you can see over my shoulder, the protesters camped out in the park.
There was an historic display of power hitting in baseball's playoffs on Tuesday night. Alex Thomas is here to tell us all about it. We're not even talking about egos.
No, baseball, though, comes alive, doesn't it, when you see the big hits and the Texas Rangers pulling him to safety. Scary stuff and brave stuff from Kip Hughes. And
heroic indeed. But can we talk about the summer job for Kobe Bryant?
No.
$2.5 million for a month?
Yeah, that's not bad, is it?
I want that.
But that's how big these NBA stars are, and they'll certainly be in demand.
$2.5 million.
No good for the fans in America, though.
No.
Unless they want to travel to Italy.
Why not? Thank you, Alex.
You're not going anywhere. You're staying here. You're watching World 1 live from London.
This is World 1 live from London. We are approaching almost 7 a.m. in New York, almost 1 p.m. in Berlin, and it's almost 8 p.m. in Tokyo. Now, the computer industry's rumor mill billed Apple's latest phone as the next great thing. But after the unveiling at a news conference on Tuesday, bloggers hung up on the iPhone 4S. Well, the latest phone does boast an enhanced camera and a faster processor. It apparently falls short of the radical redesign that Apple fans were expecting. The company's stock value dipped slightly after the unveiling. Well, if Apple's new iPhone or the iPad is a bit out of your budget, you may want to check this out. A company in India is unveiling a new tablet PC today, and it will only set you back $50. Yep, $50. Called the Akash. It runs on Google's Android operating system that refuses to just go away. It's more than a nuisance in Southeast Asia. It's a real threat after 3 back-to-back typhoons. Let's go to our meteorologist, Mari Ramos, at the World Weather Center. Mari.
Hey, Monita, yeah, it's really beginning to take quite a toll across the region. Of course, we saw the storms that moved across the Philippines. They had 2 back-to-back storms.
Yeah.
All right.
It was raining this morning a bit, but, you know, there was still a little bit of that warmth, but it's all
Thanks
good.
for putting a damper on things.
Of course.
You're watching World 1 live from London. Thanks, Mari. I'm Zain Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. We thank you for joining us. Of course, we'll have an update of the news headlines at the top of the hour. You're watching World 1 right here on CNN.